Good morning. Today is Thursday, the 4th of February. We've got another really exciting activity for you to do today. This is about using your imagination to create and draw something that I'm going to ask you to imagine that you can see. So you are going to create an image of your own exciting jungle and label it with some noun phrases. So thinking about the descriptions that I know you've become so good at. We looked at noun phrases last week, if you remember. Noun is the thing that you can see or the thing that you can feel. And then noun phrase is when you add some adjectives in front of that to describe it. So we will do it by reminding ourselves of the diary log and therefore the image that is created for us by our explorer. So we will revisit the diary log that we looked at yesterday. And we will also, before we do that, I'm going to ask you to complete a sheet of questions just to see how much of it you can remember. It's not an official comprehension, but it's just a way to get your memory thinking. Can you remember what the explorer did and saw in his diary entry? When you've done that, we then move on to coming up with our own pictures of things and then looking to label them with some brilliant phrases. Okay, so let's look first of all at the sheet I'm asking you to complete. So it's a really simple comprehension, just seeing if you can remember, or if you've got a copy of the jungle log in front of you, that's fine as well. Go back and retrieve, find the information you need. So which jungle is going to be explored? I know that that's in there somewhere. So find that information, complete the sheet, okay? When you've done that, you can mark it yourself, just check to see whether you remembered everything. The answers are on this page here. So I'm going to move quickly onto the third teaching slide. So this is where we say, let's just go back and look at the explorer's log on the next page to see what he saw. So I can see, first of all, I can actually see a little typing mistake there. It should say the. That's in my speed to type. I'll go back and change that in a moment. But what I'm going to ask you to do eventually, you see, is to pretend that you have been given the telescope that the explorer has. A telescope is a bit like binoculars. You would hold it up to your eye and it would allow you to see what's in the distance. So it'd be a brilliant way of keeping quiet somewhere in the jungle and using your telescope to be able to see something really far away, but it would look nice and big in close up for you, so you could see all the detail on it. So you're going to create your jungle. Remember, it doesn't have to be a real life jungle with real life animals. I've come up with some ideas and that could help you come up with some of your own. Okay, so first thing then is to go to the next page. I've saved a copy of it here. Read it back through, think about what this explorer did, think about what they saw, what animals did they see, how did they describe them. When you've done that, go back to the sheet, and I've saved this sheet with this lovely big circle on it. I've saved this onto the website. This is where I want you to draw your jungle. Please don't be tempted to just do a tiny little tree down here with maybe a tiny little tiger or something, or maybe try and fill it with some glorious colours and glorious creatures, glorious plants, glorious backdrop. I'll show you what I mean. You're also being asked at the bottom of the page to give your new jungle a name. They made up the name of their jungle. Can you come up with one yourself? When you've done that, go to this slide here. So this is just to give you an idea of how you can fill that circle with colour and animals, the wonder of it all. All of these are real life jungle animals. But as I said, you can come up with your own creatures. It might be that in your jungle they might have elephants, but wouldn't it be funny if the elephants had purple spots on green skin? So they could be completely different. Wouldn't it be funny if your monkeys were, I don't know, maybe they could be a bright purple? with two tails. Maybe as an explorer in your jungle, you've come across something that's never been seen before. A bird that can talk English, for example. Maybe you've come across a tree that grows upside down. Maybe you come across a flower that talks, or a flower that moves. Maybe it can pick up its roots and move from one place to the next. Be really imaginative and creative with your designs, because the clearer, the better the picture you have in your head, the easier the task over this week and next week will be. Because I want you to really imagine that you can see your own jungle and imagine what's there. Because when you come to write your diary entry next week, I want you to be able to describe what you can see as well as describing what you did that day. Okay? So use this for ideas. When you've done your sheet, could you label around the edge, maybe with a few phrases, some noun phrases, really simple. So you might have pretty purple spotted elephant, or cheeky moving root flower, or just come up with some ideas just to show that you are thinking about description. Okay? So, when you've done that, the last job today, I want you to start thinking about some things for next week. So as part of your plenary, I'm just going to ask you to perhaps write some ideas on the back of your jungle sheet. So you've created your jungle today, drawn your lovely picture, put some noun phrases on the page. Now I want you to think about some ideas then for things that you might be doing. If you were exploring that jungle, what things would you be doing? What things would you be seeing? Those are the things that you would include in your diary log next week. Some of the ideas I came up with, I used the words, and I've added a little bit of detail with some adverbs as well. Furiously chopping through the jungle vines to make a pathway. That seems a sensible thing to do if I'm exploring a jungle. No doubt I'm going to have to be doing that to make my way through the densely packed vegetation. So furiously chopping through. Then I thought, well, I'll get a little bit silly with some of my ideas. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be funny if I talk in my diary log about having a staring contest with a flame-tailed lemur? I don't think there is such a thing, but there's definitely a lemur. Lemurs do exist. They're like little monkeys with very, very, very long tails, and they're very agile as they jump through the trees. But I've made up my flame-tailed one, and I just thought that would be quite funny in my diary log if I start to describe a situation where I come across this flame-tailed lemur and we have a staring contest. I don't know who you think would win. Maybe I'll have to give that some thought. But I've also come up with some other ideas. Finding a new species of bloat-throated frog. Again, I've made that up. You can do the same. And taking a photo before it explodes. There could be some fun to be had there with the following sentences. Whether it explodes or not, if it does, how am I going to describe that in my diary log? That could be funny. And then this one here, I hope you noticed that I've included our word of the week, slipping frantically down the bank into a gurgling, pungent mass of leaf green mud. So today, before you finish your English lesson, have a think about any ideas you want to write on the back of your sheet before you forget next week. All right? So, write them down. Doesn't mean you have to follow all of your ideas next week. It just means that you've put a little bit in place ready for when we come back to it next week. You've reminded yourself of some of the ideas and some of the things that you're going to be able to talk about. Okay, I hope you enjoy this. I think it should be quite a fun thing to do. don't worry again about creating the most marvellous drawing. You know what's in your picture. You know what your drawing is of. It would be lovely to see some colour in it if you have some colouring pencils or pens at home, and send it in to me. Send me any copies of your work. I'd love to see it. And Mr. Cottle as well for Alder class. So enjoy this, and I will see you tomorrow for the last lesson of the week. Okay? Bye.